Hey everyone, thanks for coming. So tonight we're doing Check Cherry Live DJ edition. Several requests for it. It seemed like a good time to do it. So really appreciate you guys coming. And we'll just talk kind of. We did one for photo boothers, and before that one for mobile bartenders, and just talk about some specific use cases that are related to DJs and how they use Check Cherry, that type of stuff. Obviously, we like a collaborative environment. So if you have a question or anything, feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. I can read it out. We like you guys to interact, so just remember that. And so yeah, tonight we're just going to be talking about the building packages, travel fees, sales tax, payment plans, DJ planning forms, timelines, song list, and then our Calendly-style appointment scheduling. We call it appointments in Check Cherry, and then just kind of go from there and see what you guys have to say. So as usual, Matt's going to drive, and I'll be fielding questions. And so, Matt, I sent you an outline of some stuff in there to cover. I know we kind of
Yeah.
this kind of stuff's getting easier, but
hmm
and again, if you have questions, just feel free to chat or raise your hand, and we can unmute you and all that stuff. But thanks everybody for coming, and let's get it underway.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Judd mentioned, we've done a couple of these, and to some extent, if you've been to, we'll probably be rehashing some familiar things, but we wanted to have something a little bit more, uh, focused on the DJs. So do you want to kind of start with, I guess, packages, Judd?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, maybe.
importantly,
Yeah.
we want this to kind of cover both, those who are newer to Check Cherry,
hmm
and then also some of you guys who are using it currently. And I'm sure you guys will have some questions, that type of stuff. So, I think we start with packages and kind of start
Yeah.
with some of the specific packages, features
hmm
that we see DJs use, which makes Check Cherry unique. And I guess like to start with, one thing that an interesting bit of Check Cherry's history. Check Cherry was started by with the third co-founder, and he was actually a DJ. And so it was a DJ who did photo booth as a add-on auxiliary service. And so we've been servicing DJs for a long time now. And we're known, obviously in the photo booth world and other spaces. But we've always had DJs using Check Cherry, giving us feedback and all that stuff, and have some specific stuff for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of going into our package setup here under managed packages, it's real common that in the DJ world that specific packages are going to depend on your customer type, what type of customers you service. But one of the common profiles we see is people will tend to have nested within their service. You might have a few different types of customer that you go after. And so if you do work with schools, you might include that, private parties, weddings, sometimes we'll have corporate separate, things like that.
And I
And
think, let me just interject here. I
yeah,
think it's a good idea. Number one, when you're doing things like if you choose to offer online booking, this is a great way to work them into the right packages. Obviously, your packages are going to be different based on the different type of profile and the needs of the customer. So, school packages would be very different than wedding packages, you'd imagine. And then furthermore, if you do automation, you can do it based on package. So, like a classic one is, you assume a school is going to do it every year or so. You could say, hey, 9 months after the booking, let's send an email and say, hey, are we doing it again? Or do you have any questions? Let's schedule a meeting, something like that. So there's a lot of other ways to kind of break it up, or a lot of other reasons, just as opposed to admin organization, should I say?
exactly. And once you go in and you can obviously configure your pricing, what the package includes, all that type of stuff. I'm not going to go too much into that, but one thing I do want to take a look at is, if you do online booking, and you don't have to with CheckCherry, but it is, it's a common use case. When you nest your packages like this with, a service, and then within that a few different groups, when somebody goes to book you, what they're going to see is the different services you offer on that top level. So I've got DJ as one of those services. And then within that, they're going to see all of those package groups that we set up. So we had that schools, that parties, the weddings, the corporate. If I click weddings, I'm going to see just the wedding packages. And the reason we kind of break it up into steps like that is It discourages, basically a wedding person is now they're just comparing your wedding packages. They're not typically clicking back, clicking around, comparing it to the school. We kind of funnel them into what applies to them. And so, from there they can browse the different options you have, and we'll have them, collect their name, their email, their phone number, all that type of stuff, and walk them through building out an event. So, that's typically going to be a date, a time, typically the number of hours is going to affect the pricing. And so as they choose different numbers of hours, that's going to live update. Any add-ons you have, you can include in there. And so that's another place where you're typically, it's real common that you're going to have certain add-ons applied to certain packages. What you show your wedding people might be different than what you show your corporate and schools. They can add stuff if they want, things like, I don't know, idle time or, other add-ons, equipment, experiences. You can also have other categories now. So that's something we've added somewhat recently, but historically we had add-ons and backdrops, but now you can add your own things too. So if you've got something that doesn't fit within kind of the add-on or backdrop world, you can have additional steps where they can choose other items. We also support for operations that have, if you have a lot of DJs that kind of subcontract for you or work with you, you can also include their profiles as well. So we'll take a look at how to do that. But they can have a bio, and we don't have much loaded in here, but you can have a little bit about them, why they might be a good fit, things like that. We'll choose one of these. Based on the venue address, we can look up your sales tax and travel. So if you need to calculate travel fees, you can have that automatically as well. You can also do things like include a surcharge on certain venues or certain cities or things like that as well. And then once we get to the last page, has kind of a summary. And this is typically where the customer is going to be signing your contract as well. I'm logged in as the admin, so it's not going to have me sign. It'll have the customer sign the first time. But if I were a customer, I would sign on this page. The other thing I want to point out is you can have payment plans as well. So if you do, I think where that comes in handy most is, for weddings where it's one-time event, it's a lot of money for people. They're not, they might need help breaking it up into smaller options. You can set up different payment plan options in there as well. But in general, most common people are at least going to collect a deposit up front and maybe offer the option to pay the full balance.
I just want to if I
Yeah.
step in and say, if you ever have questions about Check Cherry, there's a little chat icon in the bottom right when you're logged into your account. Just chat with us and we'll get back to you. Our support's done by real humans. Matt and I still do support and respond to people at times. Sam does the bulk of it these days. But chat with us. We're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And at that point, we'll collect their payment. So that can be your, bank account if you have that enabled, credit card, Apple Pay if they're on their iPhone, Android Pay if they're on an Android device. We also do support Klarna as well. So if that's something you're interested in, we can help you get that enabled. And you can also load up, if you do a lot of business with other platforms that don't necessarily work well on the web, like Zelle or something, they don't have an integration with websites, but you can include your information there and customers can send you money directly using that. You can also pass along payment processing fees too. So if you do want to, pass along any processing fees on credit card, that is an option as well. But once they do that, they're going to basically confirm the booking, make their payment. And at that point, they basically have an account with you where they can come back and, confirm all of their details. And then they can come back and do things like filling out your questionnaires, making further payments, invoices, that type of stuff. That's if, similarly, if you do more of a collect leads and send proposals workflow, Check Cherry works with that. So you can, if you go to create new in the top right, you can also send somebody a proposal just for that. And again, having those packages set up makes it real easy. Drop a date, a time, all that type of stuff in
We have
there.
our first question here, Matt.
Yeah,
Is the bank account an ACH and is there a fee? And so I would assume, is that
yeah,
maybe you can clarify? Feel free to
yep,
unmute yourself and clarify. We do support ACH payments. That's different than credit card payments. There's fees involved in both. 2.9 plus 30 cents for the card, 1.5% for ACH.
exactly.
That,
And Apple Pay, Google Pay as well. Those are the same as credit card, basically.
yeah, it's just,
And so a common thing we see is that people, maybe you want to offer both credit card and ACH. And if you turn on the option to pass along those processing fees, then it kind of lets the customer choose. Do they want the hassle of putting
using
an
another
actual
bank
bank
account.
account, or would they just rather make that payment using credit card? And either way, you end up even. So certainly an option to do that. And so going back to a customer that's booked you, now that they have that account with you, you can have emails going out to them. You can have them fill out planning forms. Things like collecting songs. Promise songs, do not playlists, and for things like your weddings, you can do um, kind of some more advanced planning. So
And I,
maybe we'll come back to that a little bit
yeah,
more.
let's come back
Yeah,
because out of all the
yeah.
customer types that we serve, I would say
Hmm.
the DJs tend to use the planning forms the most. They have the most
Hmm.
elaborate and detailed planning forms by far, I would say.
Yeah. Another thing that is an option during online booking when you're sending proposals, sometimes it comes up that somebody needs to book multiple packages with you, and that is something that you can do as well. So there's an option to turn that on or off, but by default we leave that on. And basically, customers can book additional packages with you at the same time. So, once they get to the end of that booking process, if there's something else they wanted to add, maybe if you offer a photo booth as an auxiliary service, they can add that, or different other services that you might have.
What if
Um,
I don't want to offer online booking? I'm not ready for
You, yep. And you can definitely turn it off. So few options on that even. Basically what you can do, and just chat with us if you need help finding it, but we have options to do more of a request for proposal workflow where you still show the pricing, let them kind of build out their event, but then you do an approval before, and they don't make that payment or sign until you've had a chance to look at it, make sure everything makes sense. You can also do this lead form option where we just, don't allow online booking. We collect their details, and you can
that.
customize what details you want to collect. They'll fill that out. You'll get a lead form submission, and you can get back to them with a proposal when you're ready. So,
Got
so
another
yeah,
question?
definitely depends.
Yeah, so you don't have to offer online booking. It is popular. Everything with Check Cherry works with online booking. It's been a design constraint since day one, and clients love it. We got another question. Can you assign multiple staff to events? For example, I offer MCs, motivators slash dancers, and DJs. Customers like to request multiple staff for events.
Absolutely. So within each booking, you can assign staff manually. We also do have features to let staff claim events or request events as well. But in general, you can allow your staff to, you can assign them, and then you can assign additional staff as well. So, and you can kind of give them a role as well if that's helpful. So, as many staff as you want. Typically, what's going to happen once you assign somebody, they're going to get an email letting them know they've been assigned, and then they'll be able to access that event within their own customer portal. So if I come in and um, log into, let's see, these are both admin, so it's not going to look real different. But if I, go into a staff account, they'll be able to see the bookings that they're assigned to. You can also kind of customize how much access they have. If you want to keep it more limited, keep them from seeing things like pricing, you can do that. You can also give them access, to be able to make changes the day of and see pricing and things like that as well.
Here's
So
another question. Can an event have multiple staff depending on the package or the add-on? And the answer is no. It's not a requirement. You can add them, but there's no setting on the package.
Yeah. So as far as like the request features or the claim features, is that
Let's see here. Can we have an event have multiple staff depending on the period? When I have 7 staff requesting one event, I need 2 staff. Yeah. Now it
gotcha?
makes sense
Yeah.
to have
Yep.
like, hey, I need 2 for this, that type of thing. Right now, when somebody requests, so you can basically just for those that aren't aware, um, there's a setting where you can say, okay, I want my when a booking comes in, send out an email to all my staff members and they can request to work the booking or they can just outright claim it. So depending on your trust level and of your team, so to speak. And so, but there's a caveat, which is Check Cherry thinks that every booking only needs 1 staff. So if you are using that feature, as soon as you have one, all the other ones, I suppose, probably go away or they're locked or something like that.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, I get it. I think it's
Yeah. Yeah, there's
uh,
a few things kind of coming, I think are pretty likely to come out, pretty soon. That is one of them. Some kind of, I don't know how automatic versus manual it's going to be, as far as, where we're going to keep that setting or how that's going to work. But a way to, to allow multiple staff to claim it is certainly, in one form or another, something that I can see coming out pretty
makes
soon.
sense.
And then probably a way to assign staff to specific packages. So if you've got 3 different packages, being able to assign a staff to a specific package is something that is in my mind pretty high priority. Something that
Yeah,
I think that we should
it
see.
makes a lot of sense, and
Yeah,
there's some
yeah. And we've got some stuff that I think will be coming out on that.
oh my God, you guys are awesome. Thank you for taking
Yep.
this into consideration.
Hmm.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, we
Oh
like
yeah.
feedback. I
Thanks.
mean, we want to
Yeah.
build something that works for you guys. So we love feedback. If you ever have feedback, chat with us, share it.
Hmm.
It's just we get a lot of feature requests, so it's really a game of prioritization on our end,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and the good thing, I think some of the staff features I think are something that we get consistent feedback. A lot of things it's just kind
Mhm.
of, we'll just get one request ever for. The staff stuff comes up enough. I think it's
Yep.
pretty obvious what we need to do on some of those things. So yeah, so expect some stuff coming out pretty soon on that.
We got another didn't mean to derail the convo to staffing.
Nope, all good. Yeah.
Couple. We don't care. We're fine.
Nope.
We're
That's
like Matt and I
yeah.
are chill like that.
Another thing I think we wanted to look at was the payment plan. So under payment settings, you can set up payment plans and how those work. You can always customize a payment plan for somebody. But if you do, especially if you're offering online booking or you just kind of want to keep things simple, you can have these predefined payment plans. I wouldn't recommend setting up a lot of them, but what you can do is you can say, we've got this one set up, deposit up front, then split balance into 3 equal payments. So basically, a total of 4 payments, deposit plus 3 more payments. But we can add additional ones too. So we can say monthly plan, if you've got people booking 12 months out and you want to give them an option to break it up into, however many months off their payments are, you can do that. You can also add these deposit plus split balance. So if you want to let them break it into 3 payments, 6 payments, 9 payments, whatever you want to do, you can. It just gets a little confusing if they have a million options. So I wouldn't recommend adding more than 1 or 2, but it is real helpful. You can also, when you're building out a proposal, come in under the manage booking. We also have this adjust payment schedule here, and you can do fully custom payment plans there. So if you do have somebody that, they come in and they're just, hey, I get paid on the 10th of the month, and can you, do things like that, you can set that up, give them a custom payment schedule, enter your dates, it's got to add up to 100%, and then you can decide how the auto pay should work. Is that going to be required auto pay? Is it going to be more of those are the due dates, they can come back and pay anytime? How do you want to handle that? So lots of options around payment plans there as well. And then I guess we had a note on travel fees, so that's
Oh, did I miss that?
yeah.
I'm
No,
killing it
yeah.
over here.
And then travel fees, that's another one that comes up real common where people want to have, just charge for your travel. So there's a couple ways you can do that. Simplest is just charging per mile. Say, hey, I charge $1, $2, whatever it is per mile. You can include some free miles if you want. That's something we support. You can also do more of a flat fee structure. So if you want to do, 0 to 50 miles is one price, 50 to 100 is another price. You can set up multiple travel zones with that as well. So again, if you have any questions as you get that set up, just chat with us. But the travel that makes it real easy to kind of calculate
It's
that
a
for
real
you.
popular feature, and I think if you put in the
Yeah.
free travel zone, what it allows you to do is basically expand your serviceable market profitably, so to speak. And if you have people going out, you can pay them more, all that stuff. So
You can
very
also
popular.
decide if you want to allow bookings outside of your travel. So say you've got a 100-mile radius or something, you can set it to no, so that will basically prevent anybody from the other side of the country from booking you and having to deal with with that. It's not something we see super common. I mean, generally, people know you well enough or know where you're based if they're booking you, but it can be helpful. And then for places that need sales tax, you can also automate sales tax collection as well. So not everywhere, a lot of places tax is not required on services, but if it is in your state, you can automate that as well, and we'll look that up and calculate it appropriately. You can also control whether each item, each package you have, each add-on, things like that are
Right,
taxable.
and that's what I was gonna. I think what I see is a lot of the DJs don't seem to be charging sales tax or have to, for they're just a service or something. However, it falls into. Of course, it varies by state, but for the ones that are doing like event production and they have other things going on, certain items can trigger sales tax requirements. So we went through great effort early on in Check Cherry to help you guys comply with your accountants or financial professionals' advice on tax. But yeah, you can add-ons, packages can be taxable or not, all that stuff. It's great.
Yeah, something as an example, I think here in California, my understanding is services are generally not taxable, but a lot of times people say if you're doing photo booths with prints where you're getting something physical,
Yeah.
then it is. So you might have your photo booth packages be taxable, and then not your DJ packages. So then you want to jump into questionnaires, maybe?
That's a big topic. So I mean, it's
Hmm.
good. I mean, I guess if anybody has questions, kind of where they're at, but
Yeah,
I guess maybe proposals, I guess would be a good,
yeah,
we didn't really talk about proposals much. And so,
yeah.
you basically use a proposal when you've got a person who's ready to buy, you know what they want, you want to present an offer in front of them for them to sign and put a deposit down typically. And so the proposal is going to allow you to give one link that you can email or text, and the person will look at it, they'll review it, and then they'll sign off on your contract and then pay a deposit. And at that point, it automatically becomes a confirmed booking, and you're good to go. Emails get out. They have access to the portal, all that stuff. It's really slick. Um, they look great on the phone. If you're taking card, Apple Pay will show up. Google Pay. It's a great way for somebody to enter a card that they already have stored. Easy way to get deposits. But it's a popular feature. Um, yeah.
They'll also do some things like you can have it, assuming you require a venue. You might not know the venue when you're putting the proposal together, but it'll be, based on your settings, it'll generally be required. And so that'll give you a chance to collect that venue, and again, charge any travel fees or tax if needed. So that can be helpful as well. You can also allow them, if you want, to kind of change the add-ons that are included. If you have some different upsell options for them, typically they're going to be able to see those and add them to their order as well. So those can be helpful for sure. And once they approve that proposal, it's going to become a confirmed booking, just as the same as if they'd gone through the online booking or anything else. So.
We got a comment here, which is basically he likes to change the pick on the proposal to the pick of their venue. And we've actually had feature requests to make that automated, that you could have a picture in the places. It's a feature we haven't really discussed. But yeah, I mean, I think personalizing it is going to increase conversions 100%. So I think that's really smart.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely something that certainly makes sense. Maybe a venue picture, maybe something you can customize yourself. We see a lot of times that people want to change this background image. You can set it globally on the service. If you want to use a different default, You can also change it pretty easily here. And if you've got like media uploaded into Check Cherry, you can pick one of those pretty quickly and switch it to one of your saved things as well. So if you've got certain things that you come back to a lot, you can do that. So let's go into questionnaires. So questionnaires, planning forms, it's a real common thing that people need, common problem people need to solve. How it works in Check Cherry is under the manage, you can have what we call questionnaire templates. And within your account, you might already have some, but you can also create your own. And when you do that, we'll have a bunch of samples you can look at as well. So, if if you're just kind of coming on, need some examples, that's a great place to start from. Similarly, we've evolved these a lot over the years. So if you've been a longtime customer, it might be worth checking out if there's something that's a little bit better for your needs as well. But based on those planning forms, you could come in and kind of similar to like a Google form or a type form or something like that, you can customize different questions. Each field can have a type. You can collect text, all types of different options, double text fields, drop downs, radio buttons, check boxes, dates, times.
Even an e-signature.
Yeah, color pickers, songs, different things, and so you can kind of make them customized with what you're looking to collect. We also do have some playlist options as well. So if you want to allow them to enter a Spotify playlist, an Apple Music playlist, or a YouTube Music playlist, you can do that. And typically how it's going to work is you come in, set up the different questions you want, and then over here on the right, you can limit which packages and add-ons it shows up for. So you can say, hey, this is only for my, this is for all of my DJ packages except wedding. And then maybe for your wedding, you have some more in-depth questionnaires that you have.
And I just want to interrupt you. You're going to see this feature all over Check Cherry where you can kind of scope to package, apply to certain packages. And this ties into a question here, which says, do I have to create separate add-on and backdrop link for each service category? Or can I create a master add-on bank to connect all my different services? And so I think what he's asking is, basically just like he was doing there, you can, with an add-on, you can check the check boxes to which add-ons are available for which packages, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah.
So you can, the idea, we don't like, Matt and I are not fans of duplicate work and a bunch of manual stuff. It's, and it's kind of, it can be part of the process of, managing a business and having a system that does it, that there is some repetitive stuff, but as much as possible, we try to avoid that. But yeah, you can go to an add-on, you'll see the packages, scope to packages, show up with these packages just like that on the left, or on the right, sorry.
Yeah, you can also make fields conditional too. So if you have, I don't have a good example here, but if you want to make, only show this if certain conditions are met, you can do that. And so you can come in and say, oh, only show this if my package is, one of my, whatever, certain add-ons or certain packages or things like that. So that can be helpful. You can also say, based on other options or other fields. So if you've got, only show this if can we take requests equals yes or something like that. So there's some conditional options you can make use of as well.
Here's another comment. Not gonna lie, the playlist questionnaire confuses me.
Hi guys. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I like what you guys just said, and something that I find very important is sometimes, for example, if the event is outside, there's a surcharge. It doesn't always apply. So I would like that to be not in the questionnaire, but before they do the booking, before they sign, they give me all that information. And based on the information that they give me, for example, if the venue doesn't have Wi-Fi, I have to bring my own router. You know what I mean? I have to bring my own internet, and I charge them for that. So instead of it being an add-on, it would be an automated add-on that gets added on because they answered no. So can we attach some add-ons to personalized questions where there's a drop down of yes or no? Or let's say it's 1,000 person event. I'm gonna need more than one staff and I have to charge them for it. I'm not gonna absorb that cost. You know what I mean?
Yep. No,
Therefore,
it's not something that you can automate with questionnaires. Maybe sometime. I mean, it's interesting
well,
because
there is a part where we automate in the beginning, but I find that it's limited where it could be
yeah,
customized.
I think it might maybe like a flex pricing rule or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the
Flex pricing rule. That's what you guys called it. Yes.
one of the challenges we have, I mean, kind of just say what this other person's saying here, which is not going to lie, the playlist questionnaires confuses me. Like we have to balance this world of powerful software with ease of use, and so that's constantly something. So it's like we got to kind of find where can it fit, how can it be easy, how can it work, how can it be
In a
consistent.
way, yes, I'm with you 100%. But in another way is that the longer you are with Check Cherry, my questionnaire has evolved over the years. You know
Right?
what I mean?
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
compliments that I get from very well paying customers that find that Check Cherry to them is godsend. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
this encourages me to better Check Cherry. And
Yeah, no, I get that.
I'm always talking to you guys in private, you know what I mean? Asking for requests. And I'm pretty sure that someone who just started this year doesn't have the same experience and knowledge that, experienced boothers that have been with you
Yeah,
guys
there's,
for, you
yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah, we have customers that are kind of in different stages of their journey
Exactly,
with Check
exactly. But
Cherry.
if you give them that option, I think that eventually they could put used to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and so and then there's a question on the playlist questionnaire. I'll take a quick look at that. So now that we've set up a some templates, let's go to one of our bookings. And so basically, when a booking comes in, they're going to get a copy of any of the questionnaires you have in your account. Let's go ahead and reset this. Or let's add one of them specifically. I don't think this was a wedding, but let's add this wedding planner questionnaire, and they can come in and fill it out, and so they can answer all the questions, favorite music genres, can we take requests, all this type of stuff. You can also, if you have the Spotify playlist, different playlists, they can upload those as well. Let's see here if this works. It'll pull in whatever playlist they add there. We'll just pull that in automatically, show a preview of it. You can also, you know, play previews, all that type of stuff. Similar with YouTube, we'll pull in the YouTube playlist, Apple Music playlist as well. You can also let them choose songs as well. Once you have, maybe we'll go back to the templates in a minute, but if you've got, if you want to let them choose songs, that kind of suggestions. I think a better place to look at that is with a
Yeah.
ceremony. When somebody's planning out their ceremony, some of the, certain songs are going to come up. Obviously, will first dance suggestions that you might have. For instance, they can come in and see different options. They can preview it, see what that's going to look like, hit the play button, things like that. And then once they're happy with something, they can hit choose, add any additional notes, and save. And that way, you can come in, you can see what they chose, all that type of stuff. And then you can come in and hit that preview if you want. Um, Going back to the templates real quick. So um, under that manage questionnaire templates, you'll also see this song lists section. And so this is kind of where you can come in and customize some of those suggestions. If you've got things like for different
Right.
types of
Matt and I are
songs,
getting married. We don't know what
yeah,
song to pick. Give me a
right,
list. I'll pick
yeah,
it. I don't want to deal with it.
yeah.
We
Give me
get
the
it.
top 50, and I'll listen to them and pick something I like. Yeah. so so we've got some some more detailed videos on questionnaires and how to kind of set these up and do that as well. But feel free to we're happy to help
Yeah, they're
with
just like
some of that as
suggestions,
well.
and I think
Yeah.
it's a really powerful feature that you can kind of use. And it does, this is one of those areas, it takes some time to cultivate and set up. And
Hmm.
curate a perfect list, that type of thing. But I think
But
clients
yeah,
want
you
to
can
get
come
started.
in, add things. If you've got a bulk import from, from a service, you could do that.
Hmm.
Add whatever suggestions you want. And then what you're going to do on the questionnaire side is basically have the customer choose from that. So you're basically going to say, hey, you're going to be choosing from this anniversary dance list. And those are what
And
will
we
show up
understand that
here.
this can be a
So
little bit
yeah.
complex. So
Yep.
again, I think the first thing to do is just chat with us. If you have questions, hey, I'm trying to do X, can you help me? And kind of go from there because we can help you with screenshots, take a look, all that stuff, and kind of point you in the right direction. It's the fastest way to get help at Check Cherry. But if need be, we can schedule time. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And let's see.
I've got
And we
another
also
question
had,
here.
oh, a couple other things.
Wait, Matt, we got more
Oh, go
questions
ahead.
here.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm brand new in my first month here, so I have lots of questions. That's fine. I have a lot of mitzvahs and kinseys clients. Can I customize these questionnaires to fit these events with my usual questions I ask in plain sessions with clients? So, yes, you can. You could basically have a questionnaire for each one and then apply it to the packages. Maybe show her. It's going to depend on you. Back to the package manager. You know how this when we started, it was like schools and parties and all. Another thing we see, if it depends on your market, but if you're big in
Hmm.
mitzvahs and kinseys, like that, you would have a package group for those,
Hmm.
and then you would just select, kind of like he's going to select like schools. Yeah,
Yeah.
schools,
So if
and
I've
that would
got
be.
schools here, but if I came into my packages and if I had, if I had come in and set up, if this were, if I were to come in and maybe duplicate this, and we'll call it,
But absolutely, and I think it's a great idea, especially if you do a lot of it. I mean, I don't even know if you do a few a year, or one or two a year. I don't think it's worth it. Just fall into parties. But if you're doing a lot, because also with your packages, you can put images that are going to make sense to each of those customer profiles, and that's going to help with conversions and just make people feel better. Um,
yeah. And so now that I added that quince, I can come in and choose those quince packages as
so
well.
does that
So
make sense? Did I
yeah.
get did I answer that correctly? If not, feel free to you can ask chat again more or unmute yourself and clarify.
Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you. Mitzvahs and quinceañeras are actually a majority of my client base right now. And so I literally have like, are we doing the Hora? Are we doing Mayim Mayim,
Yeah.
Zamiratit? Like all of those questions. Like, are we leading the Hamotzi and Kiddush? All of those
Yep.
things. Same with quinceañeras, with court dances, father-daughters. We also have choreographers and dancers that do those dances for them as well. So those are like add-on packages, and I do actually have them separated already on Check Cherry.
Okay.
I just am starting to do my questionnaires, and this is literally where I'm at in my
Hmm.
Check Cherry journey right now. So I'm like all the questions.
And again, chat with us if
Awesome.
you ever have
Yeah.
questions. And then also the you might have like a general questionnaire, that kind of applies to all events, and then specific ones for each service because each you can have multiple questionnaires on a booking. I guess is what I'm getting at. So that would be
And
another
sometimes
way.
it's helpful to, as you're kind of building out those templates, or for a lot of different things, I find it helpful to kind of duplicate something. Maybe start with that general, and then if you have a few extra questions, just duplicate that and customize that rather than having to build it from scratch.
Yeah.
One other thing that kind of ties into a question, a couple other fields that are useful. We do have a file upload field. So there's a question, can you have somebody upload like an MP3 file or something
Yeah.
like
So,
that?
yep.
And so we do have a file upload field that can be helpful for, whatever file type you want to have, upload your,
Mhm.
whatever MP3.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can also do image upload. So if you have, if you just have a reason for them to upload images, that'll make sure that they're uploading an image file and not,
Yeah.
not something
And she
else. So
wants to, or he or
yeah,
she, they want to pass it to the staff member so that the DJ has it. So another, I don't know, can you use attachments for that? That
yeah.
might
You
be
could also, so every booking. So if this is more of something that
it's
like,
internal.
yeah,
Yeah.
more internal. Yeah, you're right. Probably the attachments feature would be a better fit for that. So every booking, in addition to invoice, payments, questionnaires, one of the tabs is attachments, and you can upload absolutely anything there, including a link. You know, if you've got like a Google Doc or something, you can even do like a link to something. But you can upload your document there, and then just take a look at these permission settings at the bottom. You know, do you want to allow staff to see it, and do you want to allow customers to see it? You know, if you do have something internal for whatever reason, you know, just uncheck the customer thing. But in general, we find people are using that for both. Your staff and customers can also upload here too. So if there's any reason that you need them to upload things, you know, either the attachments work or you can have that in a questionnaire, whichever kind of works for your use case.
And we got a hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi guys, I just recently spoke with Samantha and I asked her for a request for when it comes to people uploading something in their questionnaire as they're choosing a template. Some companies they have multiple logos. So I know that it is possible. Maybe you guys just limit it to one logo or one file per upload. But is that a possibility to unlock multiple things and then tell them, listen, if you have bigger files, go to the attachments and upload from there?
One thing you can do currently with the file picker or the file upload, you
Yeah.
can say repeat this question option, and then, you know, maybe just leave it blank. And that'll
Oh,
let them basically, you know, upload a file, and then if they have more files, they can click add to, you know, to add as many as they want. So that might work for most use cases. And then they can just come in, upload as many of the files as they need to. Um,
here's where I find that this could be a bit tricky is that if I have this question repeated like 3 times because, you know,
mhm,
they have 3 logos or they might have 3 logos, I'll leave that question that it's not mandatory. They
mhm,
don't have to upload. But if I put it as only one question, not a repetitive question, and
mhm,
just right at the bottom, you can upload up to 5. So when they upload one, there's a plus button that they can upload a second one. I think that this option would be more user friendly. I don't know if you
mhm.
guys can take a look into that instead of repeating the same question over and over. If in reality they only have one, they're just going to upload one. You know what I mean? It's just aesthetically and user friendly. It would be best to have that option. I've seen it on other sites. I was just wondering if it's possible with you guys.
Well, I mean, anything's possible, right? I think it's about
Yeah,
priorities. I mean, I think that's at the
yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah, I mean,
Priority.
yeah, I would, if you put in the hint and stuff that, hey, there's, you know, that they can,
You
um,
can upload up to 5. If not, if you have more, go to the attachments. Because in that, they upload sometimes for weddings, they upload the invitation. For corporate, they also upload the invitation and the several logos for whoever it is that's working, paying for the event. So that being said, it would be useful. It's just a suggestion, guys.
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I say, you could put in the logo, oh, upload up to 5 images, and then they could come in here. I'm sure there's ways we could kind of improve that, but then that would put a max cap of 5 on
Well,
there
the
as well.
the the
Yeah.
size as well, because a lot of people ask me if I want to upload something, how big is the size? If that can be also informative, like you can upload up to 5 files at 5 megabytes maximum per file, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah. If
that
you put
that
that in the hint, you know, upload maximum of 5 megabytes in that hint, then they'll see that there.
I'm going to argue they won't read
awesome.
it anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah,
I always push my clients to read it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
I even have my staff call them and do it step by step with them when they need help, actually.
Yeah, it's good. Well, Matt,
yeah,
we have 15 minutes left. Let's move to automated messages because we haven't
yeah.
touched,
Absolutely.
which is like basically, you know, can I send a note to somebody automatically and check Cherry? What do we offer? All that.
Yeah. So we basically we kind of covered this in our last webinar. So, but basically we just launched an update to kind of the look and feel of automated messages. We'll be sending out an announcement on that, I think, tomorrow. But basically, you know, if you come in here now, you'll see different messages. You know, even with a brand new account, there will be some messages in your account, and just covering kind of common use cases. You know, when a customer books you, we'll send the customer booking confirmation to them. You can come in, see a preview, edit it, make changes, things like that. You can also, let's take a quick look at the different triggers we have. So lots of different ways to automate things. You can base it, based on the book date, the schedule date, payment due date. I would say these are the most common where, maybe 3 days after somebody books you, 5 days, 10 days, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You can
You might
set up a sequence of emails.
staff
Yeah.
reminders before the scheduled date. It's booked. Hey, fill out these questionnaires. Hey, questionnaires aren't complete, so send an email asking them again, or send the team an email to get on the phone with them. There's a
We've
lot of
also
them.
got some templates in here you can use as kind of a starting point. So if you come in and say, hey, I'm looking for a review request, hit the search, and we'll should have some examples in there you can use as well. So you can use that template, add conditions, customize when it shows up, change recipients, all that type of stuff.
We have a
We
comment.
also kind of updated the tokens a little bit to have a little bit more description. We'll probably make some more tweaks to make these a little more, I think, more natural. But basically, if you click on any of these now, it'll have a bit of a description, and you can copy that and add it to your message. And that'll get substituted based on the event's information. So, if you include client first name in there, then we'll substitute for whatever the client's name is when we send out that message.
We got a comment. The new message organization rocks.
Oh,
Excellent.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Sorry,
also,
can I
yeah,
ask
go
a quick
ahead.
question?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if this have happened to someone else, but right before this call, I had a situation that was a Gmail and apparently went to spam. Like I sent the proposal to her because she was reaching out for an event that is on Saturday, and we're on the phone. I put the proposal together while on the phone, then send it to her so she can share it with her partners. She couldn't find it, but later she right on the phone there, she told me it went to spam. Like, is that like a new thing?
So,
Because
it's
No. Yeah.
possible. It does happen with Check Cherry. More likely with Gmail, it went to like promotions if it was a proposal. That would be my guess as opposed to spam. But it is possible, and I would just have them check. Overall, Check Cherry has great email deliverability, but we can't control everything when it comes to the sending and so on. And we have seen that proposals, which is just kind of like an offer, a solicitation to buy, it's possible that could get put into promotions. Yeah.
And basically what they're doing when, it's not something that Check Cherry controls, that you have more control over it in some ways than we do. But what they're doing is they're looking at the content of your message and your sending patterns and deciding how likely it is that this message
so do you think we
belongs
can
in an inbox versus.
so do you think we can gamify it by changing the subject line instead of proposals
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
say
The
something
content,
else?
yeah, the certain content is way more likely to get you flagged. So anything talking about, offers, proposals, specials, that's going to be more likely to put you into the promotions folder.
Okay.
And then the other thing that we see, happens is it's really common. It's a really common scam right now that people send businesses payment requests. They say, hey, here's your invoice, pay me. Hey, here's your proposal, pay me. And so it's a common scam that people send businesses asking for payment. And so, some, particularly more on the corporate side, less on the Gmail side, but some corporate firewalls will flag anything that's saying like, hey, sign here, sign and pay here, or signature or payments or things like that. They're more likely to flag that as spam. Unfortunately, I mean, main things, we can, if you do have a problem, we can kind of take a look at your message and, maybe make some recommendations if there's things that kind of jump out. You can also send messages via like SMS. You can send that proposal via SMS or things like that as well. So to kind of get around it. But yeah, a lot of it just kind of comes down to the content of the message and the sending patterns. If they see if you send out a lot of messages with poor click rates, if you do a lot of like lead messages or things like that, they'll, that can trigger, make it more likely that you'll have issues.
Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
We did a whole webinar on email deliverability. Obviously an important piece of the business, the product, the service. Um, there's a lot of information in there. Take a look. Feel free to chat with us. But the long story short is we can't guarantee 100% inbox delivery. And secondly, Gmail considers promotions to be inbox delivery. Their algorithms just kind of pushing stuff around based on the content. Um, but yeah.
Yeah.
What else we
So
got?
let's take a quick look at, I think appointments is a big one we should look at.
Yeah.
So, and so if you go to, well, I guess if you go to sales appointments, but we also have kind of more of an appointments feature in Check Cherry. So this is something where, if you've ever used like a Calendly or even Google Calendar has a feature like this built in where you can, schedule meetings or maybe a planning session with somebody. It can be something that happens before you book, where somebody books a consultation with you, or it can also be something that happens after they book you where, if you do like kind of a one-on-one planning with them over Zoom or wherever. And so with Check Cherry, if you click your name in the top and go to appointment scheduling, you'll see a place where you can set up, I guess we call them scheduling calendars, but basically, you can set up the different calendars that you want, and you can share a link or embed it within your website and let somebody schedule a time with you. And so based on your upcoming availability, we'll show whatever time slots are available. And once they book you, they come in, enter their details, and then you'll get a notification that somebody booked you. And you'll see that under your under sales appointments. You can also,
Question concerning
yeah.
that. So let's say I want a universal book with any of our agents. Okay. I'm not available in the morning, but that person wants an appointment in the morning, and my partner is available in the morning. You know what I mean? Like book anyone who's available, so just to get the fastest, quickest response to the client. You know, and let's say, for example, they're available next Tuesday at 3 p.m. I'm available, my partner's available. Choose your agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a random agent. I have for example, my barber. Okay, and when I book my barber appointment online, it's through Square. Okay, what happens is I can book any barber, or I can book him specifically, and they would show me his availability. But if I put any availability, any person, it doesn't matter. It'll just put me automatically with anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we understand. It makes sense. I mean, I think it's just something. It just Check Cherry continues to mature. Yeah.
And this is all from scratch, you guys.
What do you mean?
This is like the appointment thing. It's not attached to like some sort of calendar with Google or anything. This is all you guys, like, hats off.
No, we write
Hats
the code
off.
at Check Cherry. Yeah. No, I mean, that's
Amazing.
the only way we're going to have software that I think works well together. So
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah. But the downside is it takes time. We could integrate with Calendly, for example, but it takes time for us to kind of flesh out features, get feedback, prioritize all that stuff. And it just takes time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so you can also connect a Zoom account. So if you do use Zoom, then it can have automatically set up a Zoom meeting or a Zoom appointment as well. So that can be helpful. And there's a comment, Jim asks, Google Meet integration soon. Yeah, so sooner than that, actually we've got some code, in fact, for one of the things that we want to add is support for multiple, to basically allow people to connect their own Google calendars and kind of have their own, like right now with Google Calendar, you can do a global, like franchise-wide or business-wide sync. But one of the things that came up before we were able to do the Google Meet integration is kind of the way they do it. We needed to add support for individual calendars where basically people need to be able to link their own calendars, not to the business, but just to their own user account. So that'll be coming soon. And then once we have that, then the Google Meet should be easier for us to add. It just kind of, originally we were planning to launch that pretty quick, and then there were some other things that we have to get out first. So
Yeah, and behind the scenes, sometimes we have to lay
yeah,
groundwork for other things. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not. We don't want to bore you with details.
yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I think this is an important feature. And I think
Hmm.
if you're the person who wants to talk with somebody, qualify them, and have a call to action on your website that says, "Let's schedule a meeting." I mean, this is going to be great.
Yeah. And I mean, something like a Calendly is going to be certainly more focused on the appointment feature. So I mean, there's still reasons to use a more dedicated feature as well. And if you do use something else, you can also just drop those links in the automated messages as well. So certainly whatever kind of works best for your needs. Let's see, we're getting a little long on time. Anything else you want to go over real quick, Judd? We kind of did staff a little bit.
No, I mean, I think that's good. I mean, the
Yeah.
payments, the operation staff. I mean, I think that's good. If anybody has questions, now's a good time to chime in. I think I always like leaving Q&A. I mean, it tends to happen during
Hmm.
our
Yeah.
session. But happy to hear some more thoughts, feature request or comments, questions, anything.
Uh, I have another one, guys. Sorry, I've been taking a lot of your time. Is there a possibility to send an automated email when when the checklist has been done to notify, for example, me, my staff is gonna go and prepare, do the checklist, and then I get a notification, okay, this booth has been prepared and ready to go.
So when you say, is it a possibility? So the answer is always pretty much yes.
Yes, but is that
Yes, it
something
is a
in the works?
possibility.
You
Is it
know,
a priority is another matter. And I would say I don't think that's heavily requested right at this point. So,
okay.
I think stuff like, I mean, just even in the past 2 minutes, Google Meet, integrations with Calendar for more appointments, even Microsoft stuff or Microsoft Calendar integrations our users would benefit more from that as
Okay.
opposed to something that you're like this. And that's kind of like we just have to prioritize. So yes, it's absolutely possible. We get it. It's probably not a high priority at the moment.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say kind of top things coming are some staffing updates and some more calendar updates as well. So those are probably, main things coming down the pipe.
Okay, we have another one. Reporting for staff utilization and possible feedback from clients. So what we got for
Um,
staff utilization? I feel like we had something that's not used often.
Staff utilization. Yeah, what do you mean by that, I guess?
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself or just comment more.
Yeah, I'm just throughout the year, at the end of the year, to look at who has been assigned to what event and
Oh,
possibly, like Google feedback or some kind of internal feedback that I can then have a performance review at the end of the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
the last one for like performance reviews, we don't really have, I guess if we attached questionnaires to users or something like that, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense or that could work.
it could be interesting.
Um,
Yeah.
and so there isn't anything there, which, I don't know if you can even upload documents on that. I might just have a file on the desktop, until we do more stuff like that. I know in the booking report, you can get the
Yeah.
staff assigned. One of the things we do with Check Cherry's reporting at this point is, we give you access to basically all your data. I mean, there's tons and tons of options, but it doesn't have like a complex report builder to group things and all kinds of stuff like that. So you might have to analyze it outside of Check Cherry, but can't you do a staff member assigned? So like, I guess
Yeah, so two things. Yeah, under sales reporting, you can definitely do if you view a report, maybe filter it to confirmed events. Say, hey, I just want events this year, and then if you turn on the staff column, um, that'll at least tell you who is assigned, and then you could download that
That's
into
perfect. That's
Excel.
exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Another thing I could see, I thought maybe we had it, but we don't. But under this, I like this most frequently booked this time of year. And if you view that, We don't have staff, but we do have packages, add-ons, backdrops. If you have any extra categories, those will show up. And then for people that use the refer features, it'll show like who referred business to you. So those are all helpful as well for this time of year. Maybe it makes sense to add staff there as well. I could see that being useful. And then one other place that comes up, I think client list, oddly enough, has a column that's like, staff events. There's some stuff in there you can kind of play with, but that's not great for like a showing a year by year
Yeah.
thing. So I think probably that first one is your best bet right now.
Yep. Good question.